Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show. Again, go to my website, totaltutor.net for more information. Twitter, Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook, LinkedIn, Neil Haley, Instagram, Total Tutor, Pinterest, Neil Haley, and Google Plus, Neil Haley. And I'm excited always when I get an opportunity to interview a WWF and WWE star and Tough 'em Up, but all these other things. And now he's doing some work with schools. So I'm excited to welcome to the program former Tough Enough champion and WWE star, Daniel Puder. Daniel, how are you? And thanks for calling, man.
I'm perfect, brother. Howard, thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, fantastic. It's great that you're on the program. I was doing some research on you, Daniel. I was a Tough Enough fan in a way. I don't know if I'd say a fan just because of former professional wrestler that I was, and I watched the show. But I had to go back and do some research on you to see the situation, I guess, that you're most famously known for with your wrestling Kurt Angle in a shoot fight. So you were part of this whole MMA thing and stuff like that before you were a professional wrestler. Then you were in mixed. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. I was 20-0 amateur and then 1-0 professional. So I was training from the age of 16 years old for mixed martial arts and then amateur wrestling I started at 12 years old. So it was a good run, good career, and then I went into pro wrestling.
Very interesting going into the whole pro wrestling thing, Daniel, and the process of the Tough Enough. That's interesting. A lot of the people that you ran into, I might have ran into in the business as well. So first, when you decided, hey, I'm going MMA to be a pro wrestler, what did people think of it that were in the MMA? Were they thinking, are you kidding me, Daniel? You're going to be part of that?
You know, it's interesting because there's a lot of overlap in these the different sports. And I think a lot of MMA fighters, as kids, they watch pro wrestling. So, it was just funny. Some guys, they would be like, dude, what's going on here? And then other guys, back in the day in Japan, a lot of the guys that were MMA fighters would actually do pro wrestling too.
Really?
My old tag team partner Shinsuke Nakamura in Japan, he did both. And what's funny is I got to wrestle with him. What was that, about 4 years ago in Japan? We were tag team partners, and he trained at my gym when I was like 17, 18 years old with one of my coaches, Brian Johnston, for a fight. So I knew him 10 years before I actually got to tag team with him. So it's pretty amazing how it works hand in hand.
I think a lot of people don't understand this question because I'm a former professional wrestler, is that when I was in Germany, ended up having to shoot fight somebody because the person was not letting me get over in front of the crowd because it was his hometown in Germany. So I had to take him down, stretch him, and put him down saying, are we ready to get started and all that stuff, because you're blowing spots and stuff in the match. So a lot of times people don't understand, even in the WWE or pro wrestling, at times matches don't work out the way they have to work. And if you don't know how to, I guess, let's say the word stretch somebody and take them down, you could be embarrassed in a match, couldn't you?
Correct. And, I'm not saying that I was the toughest in WWE, but altogether, when I was there, yeah, there's some tough guys like Hardcore Holly who was coaching me, and he's a great guy. And there's, Kurt Angle, and these guys are really good, but there's a difference between being tough and technical.
Right.
And if you're a gold medalist,
yes.
And I key lock you and you don't see it coming, then you don't even know what it is. You don't know how to defend against it. It's all technique, right? I mean,
yes.
It doesn't matter
exactly.
how tough you are. I'm going to snap your arm off.
Right. The headbangers did that to me. I don't know, Daniel, if you knew, I'm 6'10", was 310 pounds back in the time, and I worked. They were the Spiders in the Ozark Mountain Wrestling, and basically before they became the Headbangers. And if I screwed up a spot or something happened, they would take me down. Especially Chaz, he would not take anything. He was an amateur wrestler, and he put me in a shoot hold and say, "Now let's get started. Let's be real." And a lot of the guys down south, they would put people in shoots, especially the amateur wrestlers. So I think that people understand that you get in the professional wrestling ring. That's why you're saying there's differences with MMA and that, except we know who's going to win in pro wrestling. But at times, it is not fake. You're getting beat up, you're getting hurt, and people really are not. If you do things wrong, you're going to end up getting hurt in the ring, right?
hmm Exactly. You
S-
know,
Yeah.
with the pro wrestling, I actually got hurt more than MMA fighting. I never went to the hospital
Right.
once in MMA. In pro wrestling, I went to the hospital a few times, and so to be able to see the abuse you actually draw, like in practice, MMA fighting, you get more abuse than actually in a fight because it's
Right.
that more consistent. But by the time you're in a fight, you've already gotten beat up so much, and it's that consistency of just getting pounded that your body's more used to it. But in pro wrestling, same thing. It's abuse, but it's more abuse. You're getting dropped. You're getting people landing on you. You're a 200 and whatever pound person. Most of them are
Yes.
200 or over, and you're falling consistently on your back or on people.
Yeah.
Like that's not normal.
No, it's not normal. Or taking falls in the concrete, or going through a table, or taking chair shots to the head, all those different things. So, and I know because of our audience specifically, and I saw the YouTube, I have to ask you a question about specifically telling us the story before the second segment. Promise you it's going to be all about your nonprofit, but the experience that is a YouTube sensation of you and Kurt Angle once you won Tough Enough, and you had a shoot fight with Kurt. Can you kind of take us towards and tell us a little about that? Especially, I know I could share this with a lot of my wrestling friends because I can ask definitely the right questions in this process. Take us through this.
Yeah, for sure. So we started off each individual segment on Tough Enough was completely different. Some of them they gave us a little bit of information and said you have to dress this way, you got to do this, or whatever it was, and then they just threw us in situations, and it was great because it made that kind of stuff. Reality makes good TV.
Yeah.
A lot of the time because people definitely, if you plan part of it, scripted
Mm-hmm.
reality, it's unbelievable. So we ran sprints, then we ate pasta and drank milk, and then we ran more sprints. And
Yeah.
then they said, time to go. And our music goes on. So we walk out to the ring, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so they've been filming us all day running sprints, eating food and running more sprints. What is going to go on here? So Kurt Angle comes out, and he does this challenge thing for us, and we do this up-down competition, and I'm doing them perfect. And then they kick everybody out except for myself and Chris Naraki, and they kick me out because the ref thinks that the blonde guy, somebody told him to kick the blonde guy out, and we were both blonde, so he puts me out. And then Kurt wrestles Chris Naraki.
Uh-huh.
So it was just interesting, and he breaks a few of his ribs. And it's just interesting to be able to see, how Kurt then, after he wrestles Chris, he looks at me and he goes, hey, anybody else want to get in the ring with me? And I raise my hand, and everybody else is like, oh my gosh, dude, you're crazy. And so you can tell really the spirit or how tough somebody is when somebody just gets whooped on by somebody, and a bunch of people get an opportunity and they're like, heck no, I do not want to look like it,
Right.
And so I was like, I'm going in there. And, I caught him in the corner. He was much stronger than I was.
Mm-hmm.
He's an Olympic gold medalist, go figure,
Right, exactly.
And so I caught him in the corner. What I'm good at is I'm good at catching people, and it's just, it's a chess game.
Yes.
And so I figured I didn't go in there with a game plan. I just said, hey, I'm going to go in there and wrestle him. I'll see how well I can do. But the rules were no striking.
Right.
And so that was the deal. The ref then, when I was on one of my shoulder blades, saved Kurt
Right.
from me snapping his arm off. And a few months ago, Kurt admitted to it. About a year ago, the ref admitted to it. So to be able to see,
Yeah.
10 years later, right? It's just funny that we could have done a huge thing on that in WWE, but they didn't understand or recognize that I actually caught him, which was crazy.
Daniel, if this was 10 years later, think of CM Punk, think of the smaller wrestlers now. They probably could have done this as an angle, ran a big deal for a long time, money between you two. Because the wrestling,
Correct.
the business has changed even more from then, that was still into the awe of big, gigantic wrestlers, to now where you're seeing people that could be off the streets, that look like they could be off the streets, beat guys that look like they are, completely gigantic. So that's interesting the point, and then that they finally admit this in certain things. And who knows, Daniel, because I was also watching on YouTube that you're making a comeback into pro wrestling. I've already known this in certain ways in pro wrestling. You never stop as a pro wrestler. I've made 2 comebacks after Germany, and I'm 42 years old now, and who knows if I ever get back in the ring again, but it's in your blood. And if somebody said if there's a pro wrestling match right down the street right now, I'd be in the ring. That's the funny part about it, is it just stays in your blood for sure, Daniel. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I agree. You know, I love the entertainment. I love the fans. You build really good relationships with some of the wrestlers, and you have a lot of fun. You know, you can make people really, really, entertained and excited about life just because they look up to you. And that's really what we're working on with our aspect, My Life, My Power Entertainment, is, really bringing in the, some top athletes and entertainers to really be those role models for our future generation.
That's fantastic. So when we get back, we're going to go more into that, Daniel. We're talking to Daniel Puder, WWE, MMA star, and I think I didn't answer the question about the whole back in the ring thing, but maybe that has something to do with what your nonprofit is. So when we get back, you're watching the Neil Haley Show and listening to Total Celebrity Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.
My love of books goes way, way back, and that's why working here at the Bethel Park Library is such a perfect fit for me. I remember fond memories of my childhood, reading to my younger sister some of our favorite books like The Pokey Little Puppy or Mickey Mouse's Picnic. As part of our bedtime routine, we would be on our bed, before we fell asleep, reading chapter books together, and all taking turns sharing chapters from Little House on the Prairie or Anne of Green Gables. As we got older and we were able to read it on our own, we would still read aloud together, and we would share chapters. We'd take turns, we'd pass the book around. I stress that to families today, the importance of reading aloud and sharing books as a family, because not only does it create those wonderful memories that you always have, but it's so very fundamental to the reading process and to the learning process. Picture books have always been my favorite. So again, working here at the library is just wonderful, and it's the perfect fit because now I get to share those happy memories, and I get to share the awesome picture books with kids. And kids of all ages. I love doing shows on BPTV such as Book Nook because, again, I'm sharing my love of books with kids at home and hopefully encouraging them to come in and then check those books out. And it does work. I've seen it happen. I love when kids run in here, the next morning and say, I just watched you on TV last night. Or when a parent is with that child saying, hey, we're here to check out that book that you read on the last Book Nook show. That's great. That's how we know it's working and our purpose behind the show is being fulfilled. It's also especially rewarding to me to hear of not only people watching it and viewing it with their kids in their homes, but maybe also using it in their classrooms. I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and we've connected again via Facebook, and a lot of these teachers are telling me that they're airing Book Nook in their classrooms and sharing it with their young students. So that's especially rewarding to me. Patrons who I've become very close with, friends with, who have moved away, and they were sad that they were no longer going to be able to tune in to check it out, but lo and behold, now they can because, again, the BPTV staff is so wonderful, and they upload our episodes to YouTube as well, so now she watches them on the web with her children in Kentucky or wherever it might be. So it is very, very rewarding. We're not only sharing these stories, these special books with kids here in Bethel Park, but we're sharing them with kids across the United States. My name is Elaine Volpe, Head of Youth Services at the Bethel Park Public Library and producer of Missy Lane's Book Nook on BPTV.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show, second segment. Interesting conversation with Daniel Puder, WWE and MMA star, with his nonprofit organization, My Life, My Power. So Daniel, again, we all look at different circumstances. Look at myself. Pro wrestler, went back, became a teacher, then an entrepreneur, and then had my own radio and TV show. That we kind of look at our experiences in wrestling and try to take those experiences to daily life, to bring the excitement, to bring different things. So tell me about why you started this nonprofit.
Yeah, so we started the nonprofit about 5 years ago so that we could originally stop bullying, and then we went to drugs and gangs and this and that sort of thing. And, you know, in America, we're number one, for instance, in per capita for prisoners, right?
Okay.
You know, we have the largest military in the world. We're number one pharmaceutical drugs, and so you look at some of these things that we're number one in, and you know, we're also, I think it was like 100, and we're above 100 out of 150 countries in happiness, right? So we're one of the most drugged up, imprisoned, unhappy countries in the world. And I'm like, how do we create more value and fulfillment and help our future generations love their life instead of committing suicide from being bullied, instead of going to drugs for a fast fix, right? How do we do this? And so what we did was we started going around to schools asking their biggest challenges, and we had kids that said they were being raped and beat and homeless and you know, no food and just like America, this is America. Like you know, it's just incredible that a lot of these things can happen in our country. And so it's because we've spent time on stuff instead of love. Okay. Like my parents wanted to give me more, their parents wanted to give them more stuff. And they thought about, how do you build a bit better career? How do you get more educated? How do you do, you know, it's just about what can you, how do you have a better retirement, right? And it's all focused about like long term, which is a great thing, but you got to enjoy the moment. You got to build community. You got to love each other for who you are. And so we created a peer mentorship curriculum that is evidence-based now. We've been in 32 states and 10 countries. Wow. We're working with groups like the FBI, DEA, Homeland Security, local law enforcement, working with the White House. We're working, we just became a university college course starting in the fall at Nova Southeastern University. It is the first peer mentorship university three credit course in the country. And so we're working to not only work with the educators and law enforcement and parents to make them understand how to help their kids create more value and fulfillment in their life, but we're also working with students in the schools consistently with a year-round program, which most programs don't do. Right. So we not only educate and train the mentors, like I was just at a school today in Broward School District in Florida, and they said, hey, we started a mentor program. We're doing great, but we don't have a curriculum, and we've never trained our mentors. And so we specialize in training mentors. We specialize in then getting some of these high-energy kids that, you know, either are in juvenile hall or that, you know, have challenges, major challenges in their life. And we help these educators understand how to change their mindset. And so we created this, and then often we created My Life, My Power Entertainment, because a lot of people go out and they ask for money as a nonprofit, and they say, hey, give me $10, give me $20. Well, $10, $20, if you got a lot of people throwing in $10, $20, you can really do a lot. But these days, you know, a lot of people, they're going away from that model, and it's more of the social entrepreneurship model. Right. So it's how do you buy like a ticket to a pro wrestling event, and how does that support a kid for a year?
Oh, that's interesting. So that's a really interesting thing, Daniel. What, are you trying to get me back in the ring? Just kidding, Daniel. Well, I'll come out and work you and put you over in one of your towns. So basically adding this specific portion of this, Daniel, that people buy a ticket to a pro wrestling event to help raise money for your organization is very interesting. So what are you doing in that way? Explain that to us, and what organization are you working with in that process to help raise that money? What type of wrestling events?
Yeah, so we're going to do 4 wrestling events. The first one is Houston, June 21st, this month, at the Pasadena Convention Center. And so we just picked our we basically put together a whole card. We've been working for the last 3-4 months on putting it together. Second event's going to be in LA, it looks like, in September, and third event's in South Florida. And we're looking at a fourth event. I think it's going to be Arizona or Washington, D.C. It might be Mexico, too. But we're working on some different events. We're bringing in local talent, and then we're going to fly a couple bigger names in each event. My sponsor, one of our big national sponsors, is called ResetSupplement.com. Okay. And so every event, we just did a tag team challenge, and we're going to do a press release later today. But we just picked two guys. They're based actually in Florida, but it's just an amazing story on what they do and why they do it, why they wrestle, why they want to help kids, why they want to serve the community, and so we're working a lot with good talent. I don't care if you're the biggest guy, the buffest guy,
right.
the best wrestler in the world. What I want to help pro wrestlers
right.
and other athletes become because a lot of guys don't get paid that much when they're on the indie scene.
Right.
So
I know that for sure.
I know, right? Yeah. And so I'm going to be helping them understand how to build their brand, build their social brand online, and then also build their fan base, and then take that and then use their speaking ability, and we're going to teach them how to speak more and work with them on that, and we're going to basically start booking them in schools to go do assemblies across the country.
That's great. That's such a great idea for sure. And so you're back, you get back in the ring then. I saw that in the YouTube then, right? You're going to be wrestling as well.
Yes, I will. I'm going to be main event with Major Mark, and then it's a tag team challenge that we're going to announce later today. I'll actually send you the press release right when I send it out to our publicist. So. Well,
fantastic. And so did you think when you were starting this organization, this nonprofit, you were going to bring back wrestling again?
No. What's funny is, everything I do is for a purpose.
Yeah.
I just don't wrestle to wrestle. I wrestle to make an impact on our generations, So, anybody can do anything to just do it, but I really want to see a result at the end of the day. And so that was one of the big things that I talked to my board about, and I talked to some of my advisors and mentors, and I said, how do we, what do you guys think about this? How do we rebuild America and get it to where it should be, And they said, well, go back to wrestling. So I said, I love it. Let's do it.
It always goes back to wrestling, Daniel. Don't you understand that? It doesn't matter what we did all our lives. We're always the pro wrestler. I don't get that. I don't get it. It's.
I know.
That's the conversation. That's the different thing. So the big events and the big venues you're working in, basically you're looking at is bringing talent that's going to put on a good show, but also a family-oriented show because of what the whole message is. Then, right? Correct.
Correct, and that's a big thing that we're kind of playing down. A lot of different shows and on some of the TV shows, it's a little more sexy and a little bit more violence. We're going to tone that down just a little bit, but we're going to have great entertainment. These wrestlers that we're picking, we're handpicking them in different areas, and each city has plenty of wrestlers. But we're handpicking them. We're working with different promoters, and we're having a lot of fun. So it's going to be a great show June 21st at the Pasadena Convention Center.
Fantastic. And so once you send me the press release, we'll know the different lineups. So are you partnering with any other big names, Daniel, in these events, these 4 events?
You know what? If I'm gonna send you a whole list of wrestlers that we're partnering with. We got some guys from TNA. We got some couple ex-WWE guys. So it's pretty awesome to be able to see we're partnering with each event. We're partnering actually with different promoters in the individual cities, because I not only want to. It's not about us just creating something and trying to out-promote somebody else. It's us working with local talent and helping those local pro wrestling companies get to that next level. Because if I can take 5 guys in each city and have them do 20, 30 assemblies a year,
right,
now they can make more money than they ever have. They're going to make more money than they actually get paid to wrestle, and they're gonna have a better life. They're gonna work harder. They're gonna be in the gym more, because now they're actually doing more of what they love to do every day.
And they're making a difference. When I got to doing autographs and different tours in Canada and Germany and working with the kids and doing the Polaroids and all that stuff, it was fantastic. And then be able to do those talks and teach them how to talk and about making the right choices in life and the right decisions is so key, Daniel, and developing and growing everything that you're doing, for sure. Yeah, it's a great story. Yeah.
And one other thing that I can just throw at you, we can give out a couple tickets. I'll put a couple names on a list. So if you have a couple people in Houston that want to come to the event. I will that win the tickets however you want to do it. I'll give you 2 tickets. So I was just thinking about, people that are listening to this and they want to come out, apply for it.
All right, well, fantastic. We'll definitely stay in touch and figure out how the promotion. So the next event is going to be, you said in California, or is it in Houston? Which one's the event in June?
The first event is Houston area. It's Pasadena Convention Center, June 21st.
June 21st. Then you're going to be in California, you said, in September, correct?
Yep. We're working on the dates right now.
Because it airs different times. Like our television show will air at this time, and then the radio show will air at this time, Daniel. So it was great talking to you. Where's the best place we can find information on you? Where can we go?
Go to mylifemypower.org or go to mylifemypowerentertainment.org. Or if you want to see about me personally, you can go to danielpuder.com.
It's funny how wrestling comes back to you. So you're like, you never thought you'd go back in the ring after you went on to a different career after your experiences in the WWE and then also working some other indies, and then bam, you're back again. So it's interesting, but you're doing it to make a difference. That's the important thing. You're using your gifts and talents in the ring and learning from promoters, and now promoting something that's going to help kids, and that's great. So thanks again for calling, Daniel.
You got it. Have a great day. Thank you very much.
All right, that was Daniel Puder, and great show again, Neil Haley Show. Again, go to my website, totaltutor.net, for more information. To our Total Tutor Neil S. Haley Facebook, LinkedIn Neil Haley, Instagram Total Tutor, Pinterest Neil Haley, and Google Plus Neil Haley. And we're going to continue to have great guests and interviews on the Neil Haley Show. And really liked our conversation with Daniel. You can hashtag Neil Haley Show. Live tweet all the different things. Should I go back to be a professional wrestler? I'll bring that out to you and see if that ever happens. If there's an event near me that will help raise money, you never know if I'll do that kind of PR. If Daniel could do it, I could do it. Well, Daniel's a little younger. But good talking to you guys, and we'll talk next week. Good day, everyone.
Hello, America. Mr. Bold speaking. I issued an ice bucket challenge to my good friend Darth Vader, and given his ego and celebrity status, I was sure that he would take the challenge. But if he doesn't show up in the next minute or two, I'm going to have to do it myself.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Nice towel. And I said a bucket challenge. That's a cup.
Don't make me destroy you.
Such a show-off. What are you waiting for, you big sissy?
It is pointless to resist.
I can't believe you just force-soaked me!
All too easily.
You're not such a bad guy after all, old buddy.
Apology accepted.
The Ice Bucket Challenge has done a great job of raising awareness for ALS and many other noteworthy charities. If you have an Ice Bucket Challenge or some other cause you would like to bring attention to, Darth Vader and yours truly, Mr. Bold, would like you to come to BPTV and will gladly help you make a program or promo or share your existing video with the community.
We would be honored if you would join us.